And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back. And here we are once again in the middle of the week with an episode of this show that I record mostly on time. Hi, I'm your host, Chad White. This is episode 325.5 of whatever this podcast thing is. We have a special one for you today. I am back again for the fifth time talking to the cast of Night Court over there on NBC. Once just a reboot, now in its third season. And quite frankly, it's found its footing. Yes, this is it. I'm trying to do my best impression of any NPR radio host. You name it. Name one NPR radio host. And I'm doing my best impression of them. Go ahead. Think of one. Okay. You got it? That's me doing it. Today on the docket, we have a long list. Just 3 people we're going to talk to. 2 of them I've talked to before. 1 of them I have not. But I was happy to bring them on into the equation. If you haven't checked, before I get to that, if you haven't checked out Night Court, I think you should. It's great. Watch the original and then watch this new one. Or in tandem, watch them both. You can find original Night Court probably streaming somewhere like, it might be on Amazon Freevee. I don't know. I bought the show because I love it so much. And also it was on sale one day. Flash sale on Apple TV. How many Apple devices do I have? 1. Well, 2, including the computer. I don't have a phone. I don't have an Apple TV. I can't just, I have to get the app. I love Night Court. It's fantastic. And the reboot is funny. I'm enjoying it. I watch every episode. I'm glad to be back in this world with these characters. We need more sitcoms. I do think we need more sitcoms. And I'm glad NBC is giving this show another chance. Another chance. I'm glad NBC likes the show. Another chance. You got 3 mess ups, Night Court. They give it to everybody. George Lopez's show is on. It's a second chance right now. Today I'm talking to LaCreta, Nyambi, and Gary Anthony Williams. You may recognize LaCreta from her work on Night Court, as well as the show Gotham. True or false? I'm in the middle of watching that show right now. True. I love it. I said I needed something to put on in the background as I run on the treadmill and as I ride my indoor bicycle. And dang it, if I didn't do it. Thanks, great. Nyambi joined the cast last season, so you may recognize him from his previous role on that show, as well as Titans. Which he brought up Titans, and I went, yeah, that's right, you were in Titans. He was a freedom beast. He was also in The Good Fight, Blind Spot, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show from 2017. All shows I've seen before. I watch too much TV. That's a true statement. And Gary Anthony Williams, if you don't know his face, you probably if you're listening to this, you probably know his face. Then you definitely know his voice. He can be heard on any number of shows, including Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur, Batman Cape Crusader, I can't even like it's there's too much. I'm not kidding. There's way too much on his IMDb to go through. If you watch American Dad like I do, you've seen him on that. There's so much. Sometimes he just pops up for 1 or 2 episodes on a show, live action, animated, whatever. Gary Anthony Williams. He plays Floppert on Night Court. He was an addition last season, and then they just brought him back. I hope they continue to bring him back because, quite frankly, he's a great addition. He's a very, very funny character. And as I mentioned to him, and as I mentioned to everyone else, it adds to the insanity of the show. And that's what the original Night Court was. It was a crazy, silly show, and that's why it worked. That show lasted 9 seasons. For a reboot, not even a reimagining, excuse me. For a reboot like this show, like Night Court 2023, to still be on, as opposed to other shows that are reboots or sequels in recent years that have premiered and they have not, they've been ended. I mean, come on, that's pretty big. So Night Court season 3, I talked to everybody. You'll first hear Lacretta, then Nyambi, and then Gary Anthony Williams. If you want to check out those people online, you can follow Lacretta at @just_Lacretta. That's what I just said. @just_Lacretta on Instagram. You can also follow her on Twitch, which is a very true, fun, and real statement. Nyambi can be found at Nyambi, NYAMBI, on Instagram. And Gary Anthony Williams can be found on Instagram at Gary Anthony Williams. It's so simple. That is the easiest thing. They're all great people. There's also a moment where Gary straight up does improv with me, and I don't know how to handle it because I'm so stupid. I only mention this because I just edited the video, and I'm just like, why was I not joining in on this? I could barely keep up. I guess it was a busy day for me. Anyway, any Hoosers. The credits up first, Nyambi, then Gary Anthony Williams. If you want to see a video version of this interview under the interviews, you can go to youtube.com/C+comedy to see a video version of this, as well as a video version of every other podcast, including The Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Show, LinkedIn Logs, which is the Jobs podcast, and Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. You can also subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Additionally, you can follow us on social media, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at C+Comedy, me on those platforms at Chad Black White. But for now, check out this interview with this cast. I'll see you next time. Bye. Lakrita, how you doing?
I'm good, Chad. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah, it's interesting. You're sitting there looking gorgeous in this lighting and with this chair with the background. And I was doing my research on you last night, and I went, does she have a Twitch channel? Like this is
Hmm.
wild. So now you want
Yeah.
like this Twitch thing. This is amazing. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Night Court. Congratulations on the first. I haven't seen you since last season, so congratulations on the new season. But also, you got a new job in Night Court as the head bailiff, head of security. Like, how is that? That's amazing.
Yeah, a little bit more responsibility. Actually, I say a lot a bit more responsibility, which you'll see in the coming episodes. But it just kind of adds to the chaos that is Night Court.
Yeah.
So it's welcome. And she gets a little pay bump, so that's always fun.
Yes.
And we get to see, it's nice to get to see some of her off time stuff, like her car, her
Hmm.
amazing Chevette, or I don't know what it was, Camaro, one of them things.
Yeah.
And then yeah, just to see growth, that's what keeps people coming back, is to see like how these storylines unfold, how they
Hmm.
intersect, and to see stuff like that. We work these jobs and we hope that we become editor one day, or we become this one day, or for her, she is now chief bailiff, and it's pretty dope.
Yeah, I love that. It's the permanence in a show, especially it's been going on for 3 seasons.
Hmm.
I was just talking to Gary about how silly and stupid the show can be with all the jokes. But with today's, I think, sitcoms, they either have permanence or they can turn into the
Hmm.
silliness. But this is a rare show right now that has both, and I think that's
Yeah.
working a lot for the characters and for the show itself.
Yeah. I mean, we have amazing writers, and they're so sensitive, and they've been like basically staring at us and taking
Hmm.
notes, and you can tell that they care about not just us, but they care about these characters. And yes, that's because, that this is what's paying their bills. But there's a difference when, you're just writing for the sake of writing, or you're
Hmm.
writing to discover who these people are.
Right.
And we get to have conversations, and people ask me, what is there something that you want, is there something you want for Gergs? I'm like, I'm so happy with the things that you have done for her, and the storylines that you have written for her. We definitely should probably talk more about dating now that she's single. What is that
Yeah.
life like for her? But I'm just so curious and thirsty for what they have for her, that I'm not even gonna make a request. Just give me what you want to give me. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I appreciate that there is a black woman character on broadcast television who is not turning into stereotypes, who's just a silly little goose, and she's funny, and you want to get to know her. And there are moments when you say something like, "You guys get to change clothes every time. I'm wearing the same thing every single day." Like that is so silly and so brilliant for somebody
Yeah,
who I think in the 80s would have just been a one-note character on
correct.
on a sitcom back in that day. But now I think NBC doesn't have the room for that. Like that you have to have something that can blossom, or someone rather that can blossom into something bigger.
Yeah. And that was very important for me.
Mhm.
We have those archetypes of the Jezebel and the Mammy, and I can't remember what the third one is, but there's a beautiful play that kind of delves into that. And I didn't want to, because I am the only black female on the show, I didn't want to be a stereotype. I didn't want to be an archetype. And
Mhm.
what I love so much about her is that sometimes her responses come from way off left field, but they
Yeah.
make perfect sense. Like, she is able to live in the moment, and she's able to respond authentically and unapologetically. And these are things that I don't necessarily get to do as a black woman in certain environments, because, it could be misconstrued. I could be labeled the angry black woman, and I don't want
Mhm.
that. And, so there is a diplomacy that I will add to things when I'm talking to people, or a tone that I will use, just so they can be comfortable. Gergs don't care. She loves you, and you're her friend, and so she's gonna say things, and she knows that you're gonna take them the right way, because she's got such a good heart.
Yeah.
And that I wish that we could do that more often in our day-to-day lives, but that's okay. I have Gergs. I can do it that way through her.
Do you think you and Gergs would be good friends? Like if she were here walking around today?
Oh yeah, we'd
Yeah.
be besties. We'd definitely be besties, because I feel like, for me, um, we both have that playful sensibility. I'm a huge
Mhm.
video game player. I love a good Lego set. Matter of fact, I got my Lego Storm. I haven't put her together yet, but she's sitting here waiting to be built.
Oh wow.
So that I'm so happy to be able to bring that aspect of my life into
Mhm.
her. And Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching the BBC. I grew up watching all these weird comedies, and so it's nice to have her because she's so weird.
Yes,
And so
it's
I get to get
amazing.
all, yeah, I get to get all those influences into one person.
Yeah. My here's my last question for you. Why are there so many people hanging out at night court in the cafeteria like during the it's wild. Like even I that's my biggest problem with the first show, my biggest problem
Yeah.
with this show. Why are so many people there? It's like 11
Well,
p.m. on a Tuesday.
Well, here's the thing. So it's based on the actual night court in
Mhm.
Manhattan. And because it is so wild, and I think John went there or he's going there to kind of to be one of those random people that are going to be in the cafeteria. People go there to look and see what these weird people who were doing whatever at 9 o'clock and now have to come here for arraignment. What was y'all
Yeah.
doing? And you know there are some weird people in New York.
Yeah, oh,
So
yeah.
it's not out of the realm of possibilities that this place exists. So some of them are, lawyers and plaintiffs and defendants, but some of them are just there to come watch.
Just to hang
And I don't
out.
think there's like any kind of admission fee or anything, but they just go to see the crazies.
That's it. That's so insane to me. Well, though, thank you so much for sitting down with me again. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys get another season because this show needs to exist. I need more of this show. I love the Night Court universe.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, I'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Niambi, how's it going?
I'm good. How you doing, Chad? Good to
I'm
see you.
doing well. Thank you so much
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah, yeah. Oh,
joining
you've been
me.
working out, man. You've been working out. You've
I
been
next
working
time
out.
I'll wear the biggest sweatshirt I possibly can.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. I just started. I haven't worked out in a year. I just started working
Okay.
out this week,
Okay.
so I'm
How's
trying
it
to get
feel?
my Titans body back. Anyway, go ahead.
That's right. You're on Titans. I
Yes,
completely forgot as the Man Beast,
yes.
Wildebeest,
Yeah, as Freedom Beast.
Freedom Beast. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Freedom Beast. But yeah,
How's it been back in season three of Night Court? I was just talking to everybody else. The show has really hit a groove, and it
yeah.
feels so great to have like a version of this show that is so silly and so fun in 2025.
Yeah, it's been great. This season, I feel settled in.
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, I know who this guy is. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
With the first season, I'm like, all right, who is this guy? Oh, I'm this guy. I'm this week. Okay, I'm that this week. I'm all these things. And then it's like, all right, now that season two has been sort of the gumbo, of, like who Wyatt is. Now I feel like season three is about like serving that gumbo
Mhm.
hot and fresh, something like that. but yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. And then, Wendy Malick joining us, she's been great, and Gary Anthony Williams. Anytime you get to see Gary Anthony Williams, Gary is like, I mean, he is.
Mhm.
I mean, I've known Gary for years, and I've
Okay.
always been like, yo, Gary is like one of the best improvisers I've ever seen in my life.
Right. Yeah.
Like he is incredible. I mean, incredible. I mean, he's top for me in terms of improvisers. So but I haven't seen every improviser in the world. Um, there's three or four that I haven't seen yet.
This is only three or four.
There's only three or four. They're in Togo. Um, anyway, yeah, I'll make it out to Togo and I'll see those three or four, and then I'll decide. I'll judge.
Mhm.
But for
Mhm.
right now, Gary Anthony Williams is like top for me. Him and Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, Gary's wild. I just when I ended my interview with him, I
Mm.
dropped this. I was like, "Hey man, I remember watching you on the Blue Collar TV show." And
Yeah,
it's just wild to remember that like that he was in that like the token black guy in that
yeah, yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. No, he's been around for so long, and I mean, that's the one thing I don't think enough people know how funny he really is. You
Yeah.
think you know how funny he is. He's funnier than that.
Mhm.
Like he's like such an amazing, yeah. So his addition, and then of course all of that, the cast. I just feel like we're just having fun,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
the cases, from episode to episode, we just have, it's craziness. It's zany. So it's just like, you know what? Let's go. Let's have fun. Yeah, let's play. We even have a musical episode that's coming up, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, we just have a lot of fun. You know,
Mhm.
um, it's a disco night. Yeah, we have some fun episodes coming up.
I was just yeah, and I also mentioned that the show is so silly, and
Yeah.
the original show was so silly that it's finally they're finally like catching up to each other, and the point
Yeah.
where this new show is finally allowing itself because I feel as though that first season, while it was still good, and the second season was still
Hmm.
good, you had to indoctrinate and tell the audience, hey, this is a sitcom, we're funny and we can do funny things.
Yeah.
And now in his third season, as you said, you're comfortable with your character, but also the show is comfortable with itself, and it's
Hmm.
allowing itself to be this dumb, silly thing where sometimes things matter in the next scene and sometimes things don't.
They don't.
And
Yeah.
that's why, you can have something like you taking your daughter, your 8-year-old daughter, to a lie
Hmm.
detector. And
Yeah.
just saying, she's lying to me. She's lying like the level of a cop, and
Oh
she's
yeah.
making
Yeah.
me think
Oh yeah.
that I adopted her. That's why.
Yeah. 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 No, yeah. Like that's what the show is. I mean, my favorite moment in the original series that encapsulates the craziness of the original series and what this series ultimately is there was a scene where they were trying Trekkies,
Mm,
okay, in the original, and they ruled against. It was two sets of Trekkies, and they ruled against one of them, and then they said, we don't accept your uh, your uh, um, your verdict because
yeah.
we are not of your jurisdiction, and then they beamed out.
Yes. Yes.
They beamed out. I was like, oh, you can do that. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, they beamed out. It's just like, all right, great. So we haven't beamed out anyone in this episode. I mean, or this season, sorry, or this show.
Mm,
But I feel like if we decided to, we'd be like, okay,
yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
So yeah.
One
But
of
who
my
we beamed
favorite.
in is
uh,
Brent Spiner, which is great. So anyway,
Yeah. Brett Spiner's a
yeah.
fantastic actor. One of my favorite moments from the original is it was a tag at the end of an episode, but Dan Fielding was just tossed out of like the top story window in Harry's office, and
Oh, yeah,
presumably died, and then
yeah,
comes back to the top of
yeah,
the episode.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And now when I was watching a couple of episodes last week, I noticed that you you remind me of I know you went to school in New York University, but you remind me of somebody like James Avery, who there's always one person in every single sitcom who
Mhm.
has that sort of theater acting prowess, and
Mhm.
you have that and you display it very well for Wyatt. It's a fascinating thing to see in a sitcom because, like I said, there's always one person. And
Yeah,
Friends,
yeah.
I feel like it was David Schwimmer, uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
where you can ground yourself in all the silliness.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's for me. That's the most important thing. I've got to feel like that. At the core, there's truth. You feel like he's grounded in truth, and then once I feel that, where I'm anchored in that, then I can go as far as I want because I know that the anchor won't allow me to go so far off that the character is unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Like I wanted people like at the core to know who Wyatt is, and once you know that, then it's like, all right, what's the where's the boundary, and when does he sort of play with that boundary? When does he go past the boundary? Now, when I go way too far past that boundary, then you're no longer Wyatt, you're somebody else.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's fun to sort of season two was finding all of that, and then season three has been playing with all that.
Yeah.
And every take is different. I just have a lot of fun trying to do something new and exciting for the audience, for the other actors, for the writers, to surprise them, surprise myself, surprise the writers, surprise the other actors.
Mhm.
And I really, all that comes from John Larroquette, because John Larroquette, that's what he does. He's
Yeah.
always constantly trying to surprise. Um, but to me, it's like it's him just sort of surprising himself and just like what is this moment? What is this moment presently?
Yeah.
It's never the last one that we just did. It's always something new.
Yeah. Well, Nyambi, thank you so much, man. You like just keep
Thank you,
keep
man.
looking for the surprises. You guys are great, and
Thank you,
here's
brother.
hoping for another season.
Thank you. Please, man.
Yeah,
Please, please,
yeah.
please.
All right. Well, thank you so have a great rest of your day, and keep up the good work.
All right, brother. You
All right.
too.
Hey, Gary, how's it going?
Good man. So where did C plus comedy? Where did that name come from?
Well, so like I don't know, maybe like 11 or 12 years ago now. I made this website with some friends, and another guy was named Chad. He eventually dropped out, but he named it C plus Comedy. I was just like, all right, I guess I'll stay with it. And obviously, it hinders me from interviewing anybody outside of comedy, but whatever.
No, because the world is led by a bunch of C students, so we're okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm one of them,
There you go.
I'm alive.
I like how you just considered yourself a world leader, Chad. I like how you just took the mantle.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Before I you give me a compliment, I lay on 100 to you, because I've seen you everywhere all the time for the past, I don't know, 20 years or so. You're
You
just
mean illegally, like me hiding in corners and stuff?
yes.
I do a lot of corner hiding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're such a you're a great person who I know you drive a car. I see you every time I'm peeking out of the window.
Yep,
You're always there, just
that's
waiting.
me.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep, that's me.
Hey, so how's it going? How's it been going with these interviews and everything with this show?
Going great because honestly, like with the show itself, man, I watched this as a kid.
Hmm.
So seriously, like the fact that I'm in there, it's like stepping into my television set because
Yeah.
they didn't really change anything. Like the sets, they either got the exact same sets or pieces of the set or replicas of. So they
Right.
really wanted to keep that old look. Like time has not changed in this place. So the interviews have been going because I sincerely have such a great time doing the show. It is just an absolute joy for me, especially the
Hmm.
character I get to play, who I don't have any limits. It's kind of like Uncle Ruckus on the Boondocks. Like I'm the
Yeah.
guy who can say anything on this show.
Yeah.
Flaubert can say whatever on this show. He can do whatever. He's been everything. He's been a judge and a lawyer and
Hmm.
you name it, he's done it. And so there are no rules to what I get to do. So it's a joy, man.
Yeah.
It's
I feel like
it's
it's the perfect addition. He's the perfect addition because when Night Court, the original series, it was so wacky and so cartoony.
yeah,
Like you could see Dan Fielding get killed at the end of a sting at the end of an episode, and then he's back in the top of the
like a
next
cartoon.
episode. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and it works, and that's why. And your character is so entertaining, and I think season three, the show really needed more seasons because not to knock the first two seasons, but season three, it's really in its groove of just being silly and understanding that
Yeah.
hey, we're not friends, but we are something completely different, and
Yeah.
that's where I work.
I mean, they're leaning into the ridiculousness of
Hmm.
it. They're leaning in the stupidity of it. The writers have, they found their voice. And then once they were like, oh, here's what Flaubert can do. Here's
Yeah.
what Niambi's character can do. Like once they've found the formulas like that, then yeah, there's no limit. Like even Wendy Malik's character she went to prison and now she's
Hmm.
back as a lawyer there.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
no way in the world they're gonna let that lady start practicing law. But like they're it's in a world of rules all on its own.
Yeah.
Um, and lucky for me, I get to play the guy who has the least rules of anybody. Like we'll do stuff that sometimes it makes it on TV and sometimes not. But there was at the end of one episode where they literally told me to turn directly to the camera and go, to be continued. Like like this guy. So it's like, wow, I get to do that. I get to just break the fourth wall and tell
Yeah.
everybody this is a TV show and we'll be back with more of this. So it's great, man. It's as freeing or a TV role as you can get.
Hmm. Yeah. I also, you know, the jokes that you are stuck with in particular are just such great one-offs. Like you're backing in some files and your phone is going off and it sounds like a van backing up, or the
Yes.
knife joke, I found this, like they gave me this briefcase
In my bag of
a
knives.
bag of knives. Why are you
Like, what
carrying
is
a
he
bag of
doing with a
knives?
bag of knives? Yeah.
That's
He had
so
practiced
great.
hypnotism at one point in this season. I'm going to mention that I've been involved in a rap battle. Like, there's no telling what Flaubert is up to, man.
Yeah, yeah.
No rules, baby.
Do you get to, like, since you're somebody who has played probably 150 different characters, do you get to inform yourself or anybody when you come into this role and say, "Hey, I think Flaubert's a lot like this," or is
So,
that the same
so
for you?
when he came in, it came in as a one-time character. He came in just to play a judge. When Melissa Rauch's character was stuck on a subway, then they needed a judge to come in to fill in. So it came in already pre-written of who he was,
Hmm.
just that judge. But after that, the writers just went crazy. They were like, "No, let's just bring this guy back, but we don't need a judge anymore. Okay, but we need a clerk in until we get to hire a new clerk on the show. He can be the clerk now." Like
Yeah.
he's like a Swiss Army knife of stupidness. Is what he's like. Um, so I haven't had to lean into any informing. They have come to me and said, "Hey, can you blank, or
Uh-huh.
do you know how to blank?" They've asked me those things, like about certain skills I have that they wanted to, like, maybe put in the show. But I haven't had to make any suggestions because they're making all the greatest, dumbest choices in the world for
Right.
Flaubert.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And they all works. I've never seen you like on camera and not smiled. I'm like, oh, here comes Gary. He's
Oh,
getting ready to do something weird.
you don't even know, like, that thing you just did. My son calls that smithering. I smother my hand so much when I get a new script, dude. It's like, what am I about to do this week?
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
happening? What is he going to say and why? So it's like opening a present every week when I look at the script, man. So
Well,
yeah,
Gary,
yeah.
like this is a treat. I love you. You're a great actor, very funny. I was watching you when I was very young, watching the Blue Collar, that
Oh,
TV
blue
show.
collar comedy show.
Yes.
Oh
Oh my
wow.
God. Yeah, that's how far back I go with you.
Oh,
So
one of the big writers on this show is from Blue Collar TV.
really,
Yeah, Matt. Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
wow. What a small
So
world.
I'm telling you, he was like, "Can you believe?" Because that show that was something. Like, we were, yeah, shot in LA, shot in Atlanta,
Mhm.
and then here we are years from now. So he's one of the head writers on the show,
That's
Matt.
awesome.
So
Well, dude, thank
yeah,
you so much. This has been such a treat. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day, and congrats on season three. Hopefully, we get to see you more in season three and more in season four.
you will definitely see me more in season 3, and I am crossing all the fingers on season 4.
Here we
I
go.
need stupidity in my life. We all do.
We all do. All right, Gary. Thanks again.
Pleasure, brother. Ciao.
See ya.